Hi, everyone. Welcome to America's Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Desma, and welcome to today. Hey, we are live actually right now on Spreaker. So if you have a chance, go to our audio because we have an audio podcast going live right now as well. So if you're not catching us on video, you can catch us on audio. Thank you guys for watching here at America's Podcast here on Rumble Live. We're on YouTube Live and we are on Twitch Live. We're not on Facebook yet. A little more time. We'll get it out there pretty soon. But you can follow us on our Facebook pages. We actually got a website. Just click on the links to the description here to those pages and you'll see what the updates are coming up for the next podcast and the next things we're going to talk about, you know what I'm saying? But today, we're going to do little updates on what happened with the shooting. But before we get into that, just welcome everybody today. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I know it's starting to cooling off out there, which is great, but I want to make a big salute to our military out there first. So first of all right, this is how I open my shows. This is how it goes. Our military is number one in my book, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. We have the National Guard and Space Force. Thank you guys for everything you do to keep America safe, because without you guys, we couldn't do it, right? We couldn't be safe. You guys play a big part in your regular everyday things that you do for the United States and your sacrifices for people out there that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Just thank you for being out there and doing that for the United States of America. That's what this podcast is about. It's about United States being together as one and the best as we can do, as far as working together. We always have to work together. It was awful, man, what had happened here a couple of days ago. And nobody could ever, pretty much comprehend what's going through somebody's head when these things happen. Of course, we're talking about the school shootings. I was just thinking the other day, right before this thing happened, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I always think these things, when I'm driving or I'm just kind of doing my thing. I was like, there hasn't been anything like that lately, which is great. I'm glad. And then all of a sudden, bam, this thing happens, right? When we least expect it. And it's a horrible thing, and our condolences go out to the families that were lost and it should have happened, man. This stuff shouldn't have happened. The FBI had an eye on this kid for almost a year, and he was on the radar, and this thing happened, and it shouldn't have. And the bad part about that is because when this thing. Now that we're talking about AR, because he used an AR style of weapon to do this kind of chaos, right, in the school and terror, really, in reality. Whether what was going through this kid's head, I don't know. But he was in court this morning. I believe I saw it. I'm going to throw this out just real quick so you guys can get a little quick update. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm sure you probably have, because being on Rumble, this thing's all over the place. But here's a little news clip from it from... Yeah, I don't really like the station, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Here we go.
Colin made their first court appearances in Winder in Georgia. Now, Colt Gray is charged with 4 counts of felony murder. Investigators say he killed 4 people and injured 9 others at his high school using an AR-style rifle. He will be tried as an adult. And authorities allege Colin Gray provided Colt with the AR-style rifle used in Wednesday's mass shooting. He is charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children.
All right, so that's pretty much what happened this morning, and this gentleman bought this style of weapon for him, and because he said he used it for hunting and things like that, which I get. I do have those kind of rifles myself. We have everything put away, of course. And but at 14, you know, you don't just hand your son over an AR. Now I get it. There's some guys out there that really train their children from a young age, from the age of 10, handling these kind of weapons, you know, to where they're safely and put away, things like that. But this was done awfully, you know, how he was able to give this kid this weapon and or just it was there for him to grab or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the details. Nobody really knows just yet. All we know is that he purchased this weapon for him and stuff. And me personally, when I was about that age, my dad at the age of 9 years old to the age of 13, 14, I still had a BB gun and a pellet gun. That's what I had. That's what I had because my dad he knew, you know, God rest his soul, but he knew that I wasn't quite right upstairs yet. You know what I'm saying? We're still growing. We're still, you know, we still have our little anger issues and stuff like that at that age. And of course we stay up late all night. We sleep all day in the teen years, right? That's exactly what happens at those teen years. But for him to have access, man. And this is the part where the Second Amendment is getting, we're going to get attacked here because I used to be a police officer. I do have, you know, I do have my weapons. I carry one. I live here in Texas. I carry one every day. Okay. That's my thing. You know, I want to keep my family safe, yada, yada, yada. Here we go. We can do that here in the state, right? Different states have different laws that acquire you to have. I used to have a license before they kind of gave us an open carry here. So I purchased a license. I had everything for it. I did everything legally, even after not being a police officer for many years, right? So this is the backlash that we're going to get from as far as Second Amendment folks to have an AR style of weapon, 15, whatever, however you want to say it. And for, you know, the other side is going to start attacking this issue, right? Which they have already been doing for a couple of years already. And there's just no way around that, right? To where now they're starting to say, well, you're going to have to do background checks, this and that. But hey, they had already done it to this kid. You know, he was already on the radar because of social media. Now, I don't know if I'm all over social media, and I've seen some stupid stuff that a lot of these kids put out there. Stupid stuff, man. And it's they're waving a gun and this and that, and I'm like, what? You know, and these are teenage kids, right? And there was one locally that was doing that here, and of course, me being an ex-police officer, I reported that because I wanted to make sure I have kids in high school, whatever. I wanted to make sure wherever this kid was from, this was last year, that it was going to be safe. I reported it. All right. So if you see stuff like that, man, please don't throw it off. Even if you're a teenager watching here today, report anything that you see that you think that they're not going to do. You know, you just never know what's going through a person's head, especially at that age. Because a lot of the emotions and stuff that's going on. Now, we do know that this kid was actually being abused somewhat, but that does not excuse what he did. I'm not going to excuse anything what he did. There's people grieving right now, you know, because of this horrible act, right? Because of being angry or just because he wanted to do it. I don't know those kind of things of what goes through somebody's head. Especially at a teenage. If you notice, a lot of these people that do that is about that same age, you know, 17 to 24 is around that, you know, 14 or whatever to 24 is around that age too, where they're thinking of doing things like that. And then we have these copycatters right afterwards. This is what I'm afraid of. And this is what you should be afraid of as well out there, because, you know, you have to keep yourself in total kind of, I'm not going to say like to be in fear, no, but you have to be more of just aware of what's your surroundings, of what's happening around you everywhere you go. You know, I talked about this on one of my podcasts in the back. You know, it's I sit at an angle to where I can see the front door and I can see the back door. I always know my exits. I'm talking about when I go to restaurants, functions, anything like that. This is just my mentality of thinking. I don't know, because of my training or what it is, but I've taught my children to think this way as well, because we live in a crazy world, a crazy society where people are just angry, man. And they're going to do stupid stuff, man, especially what happened, in Atlanta, in Georgia. And not Atlanta, but it was just, it shouldn't have freaking happened. If you are a rifle owner or a gun owner or of any kind of, weapon like that, please keep it safe. Keep it somewhere where it's locked up, where nobody can grab a hold of it, and don't tell your teenage kids your codes as far as to get in these lockers, like, just in case of an emergency, if anybody breaks in, here's my code. Don't do that. All right. Don't do that. Don't do that to it. Don't give it to a teenager, and it's because their mindset is not quite right there yet. At that age, all the way to even 24, man, it's still not quite there. My thinking at that time, I was pretty stupid. I did some stupid stuff. I'm talking about, like, I don't know, just being in back of trucks while going 30, 40 miles an hour. But back in the day, you could do that, ride on hoods on cars and standing on the hood. We did some stupid stuff back then, right? And your mentality is not quite there yet as far as, having, especially something like having a weapon for protection, right? And I get it. You want to protect. I get that. But at the same time, you are going to be accountable. Now, I've been telling my wife, back and forth all day, for a couple of years now, ever since we started seeing these things happen more and more. I told her the parents are going to start getting attacked for this, right? Because of negligence, right? And it's basically, that's what's going to start happening. They're going to start hitting the parents. And they might not just hit one, they'll hit you both, father and mother. Take you both out when you went and did something stupid, right? Even if the kid that does this gets killed in the process, they're going to come back after the parents. Okay, so this is what's happening now, and let me just show you this quick clip of what happened here after that shooting took place.
With District Attorney Brad Smith, the GBI has arrested Colin Gray, age 54, in connection to the shooting here at Appalachia High School. Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. Additionally, Colt Gray, that was arrested yesterday for this incident, has now been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. And again, we will continue to work tirelessly to complete this investigation as we move forward.
Now, what you just heard there is they arrested the father, and even though he didn't pull the trigger, it's almost like he just pulled the trigger, okay, on what happened to those poor people in that high school, okay? So he's getting indicted as well for murder because his son did something stupid, but he was negligent as well, right? And this is what they're getting him on. It's coming, folks. That is coming. Because when you don't put your weapons away, and we see it every year, man, or especially down here in South Texas, accidental shootings, your kids get a hold of your gun and pap, they accidentally shoot themselves by accident, or shoot their sibling, or kill somebody by accident, a baby or whatever, just grabs a gun that's on the table, and, that's negligence, man. That's negligence. And me as a gun owner, I see that, as negligence. But at the same time, now father and son are both getting indicted, man. I mean, your thoughts, should it be that way? Yeah, there was some dark stuff happening behind the scenes there. As time goes on, we're going to start hearing more and more about what happened behind the scenes, right? The abuse, things like that. It already started coming out little by little as far as what happened to this kid, right? And I'm not feeling sorry for this kid or anything like that. No, because what he did was horrible, and he knowingly knew what he did. It's not like he blacked out or he was on drugs. No. So, and then the judge told him this morning, you're either going to be, you can be in prison for the rest of your life, or you can get the death penalty. Which one of these it might go. Of course, being at the age he is, they're probably just going to give him a life sentence. This is probably going to be the full outcome of what's going to happen to this kid. And it's just a horrible thing that occurred, and now we have families grieving. Now they have to bury their loved ones here in a day or two, and for somebody's negligence, really. That's why they're charging the father, because of that, man. And I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm very upset about it. As we all should be, because I'm going to have a podcast, a full podcast here in a couple of weeks or a week or so. It's going to be about the Second Amendment, about being a gun owner, things like that. And we're going to get into detail about the Constitution and your rights as a gun owner. And I'm for. It's like this gentleman said one time I heard him a few years ago on the news. He says, "Look, man, if there's ever a time where our government goes against the people, I want to be able to protect myself with the same kind of weaponry that the government has, and I think that should be an equal right, which is the AR style weapons, things like that. In other words, she's saying what these guys have, we should have too. So." It's not like these other countries where they take your weapons away and all you have is, you have slingshots, and or paper wad throwers. You know what I'm saying? Or paper clips. What are you going to do? You can't defend yourself that way against tyranny, right? And that's, of course, the whole other issue. But what we're talking about today is what happened to these poor folks, right? And our hearts go out to the families here at America's Podcast, because this should not have happened. And my thing about today's podcast was just short, but I want to tell you guys that if you see anything like this, please report it, man. If you see anybody on social media, everybody's on social media now. Everybody. Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff that comes along. If you, or even on X. If you see anything like that, please report it in your local state. Use your state government to report it, because this could have been preventative, more preventative. And I know that they knew about it. And this is the crappy part about this. They knew about it. Talk about the FBI. And they let it slide, man. Because they trusted the father's, I guess, what he had told them. And then this happened. So don't feel sorry for this man. I'm not. Or his son. I'm not. They get whatever's coming to them because they took, basically they both did it. All right. This is how I'm going to look at it. And they both took innocent lives that shouldn't have been taken, right? And there should be justice for that. And the justice is in our justice system there in Georgia, to where I hope they use every full extent of the law to convict both of these human beings that took the lives of innocent human beings that shouldn't have been taken, right? And that's what is these are my personal feelings about this, right? And if you feel the same way, great. If you don't, hey, whatever. You can be at whichever side you want. But this was wrong in all shades of everything. It was wrong, and it should have been done. It shouldn't have happened. And if you're a gun owner, and I know a lot of folks are out there, because this is America. You can do that in America, right? And if you are, keep your stuff safe. Lock it up where nobody can get it. Only tell an adult if you need a code just in case of an emergency. Do not tell your teenager these codes to your safes, things like that. I would not ever do that. Okay, it's just not. It's not probable, right? You're setting yourself up for disaster because hormones, feelings. As a teenager, all these things get in the way, man, and they get angry and they lash out. Okay, so, and a lot of these things that these kids do these days, and they regret it. The ones that live, right? The ones that cheese out. I say cheese out because they're willing to take a life, but they're not willing to take their own, right? So, and it's horrible to even approach the idea of doing this to any school organization or wherever you're at, because you have just destroyed not just these people's lives, but the lives of their children, their relatives. It's like a domino effect. Everything just, as soon as you take that life, if they have a large family, it affects everyone in that family. So not just the lives that you took, you destroyed maybe 20 or 30 people in that one person's family. So it multiplies by 4 or 5 or 6. Okay? So this is how bad it is. And we as Americans, when we see stuff like that, we need to report it as soon as possible. Okay? Don't let it go. Don't think they're playing. Because one of these days, their feelings are going to get in the way, and that is going to cause the life of some innocent person, right? Just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Basically, that's what happened, right? And it's unfortunate because these people had to go to school. They had to go to work. It was part of their daily life, right? And then for this to happen to them, it's the most cruel thing that I could ever, fathom in my head. But I hope you guys say a prayer for these people. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers as far as the families that lost someone in this Georgia shooting. And just always be vigilant. Keep your eyes open, man. And just look out for what's out there and the possible threats that are out there, because they're out there, man. They're out there. Threats are out there now. Now that we have these open border, the threats are everywhere, not just within our own people, but it's out there, and you have to keep your eyes open all the freaking time, all the time. You should be always, don't let them catch you off guard. Keep your nose out of your out of your phones, and out of your tablets when you're around in public. That's how they catch you off guard. Okay, so. That's my say-so today on America's Podcast. I hope you guys got a little bit out of information of what's happening. We know that these individuals, today stood before the judge, and it's going to be a long ride for them, but it might go fast too for them and be done quickly. But this affects us all, as far as gun owners as well, because they're going to come after us and attack us, right, for the AR style weapons that are out there. That people do have, right? And this is exactly what's going to... But when they took a shot at Trump, you didn't hear nothing. It was crickets, man. And he used an AR style weapon too. It was crickets about, gun reform and all that. They could have cared less. This changes everything, okay? So, make sure you report everything out there. It's just all I'm saying. I hope you guys enjoyed today's information. I know it was enjoyable, but let's just keep these people in our prayers and our thoughts, because they're going to need it. It's going to be a hard time and a hard road ahead of them, to move forward after this, and even through the courts and everything that has happened since a day and a half ago. Okay, so. We'll catch you on the next podcast. We'll have another one coming up soon. I'm going to throw it out there. We'll see you on the next one. All right. America's Podcast. Follow us here on Rumble. Follow us on YouTube, Twitch, and on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page and an official website. Go check us out. Check out our merch there as well. You guys have yourselves a good day. We'll talk to you soon. America's podcast.